What's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video. Want to highlight a couple of things in today's video, including Mortal Kombat 11 having always online Denuvo anti-tamper DRM on PC. Such a bummer with this, especially with it being on PC. Mortal Kombat is just a game I knew wasn't going to do all too well from a sales standpoint on PC, and adding yet another barrier to the game, just a really big bummer. And I've been really turned off by fighting games recently based on all of their practices on doing so much DLC, so much season pass content, and this is another game where if you want all the content, you gotta spend an absurd amount of money. And I know a lot of you guys are excited for MK11, and I am too, but maybe I can come at this at a more objective viewpoint because I'm not as attached to the franchise as some of you guys. Like, I've always liked the Mortal Kombat games, but it's not like it's my favorite franchise in all of gaming. But nonetheless, I do want to talk about that. Also, Dangerous Driving is a game that's an Epic Store exclusive. It's actually coming from the creators of Burnout, and the game is releasing tomorrow. However, the fact of it being on the Epic Store actually adds some limitations to the game, and some really major limitations based on a review that I checked out from Game Revolution, and they mentioned it, and I want to take a look at what they said about the game and kind of brought forth the issues that the Epic Store has when it comes to releasing games exclusively on there. And lastly, you guys know I've been hyping up Xbox's Game Pass service, or rather on Windows as well, being a PC gaming channel, but nonetheless, you guys get the idea. Game Pass is a great service, and even on PC, even though you have a finite number of games to actually play with using the service, it's still very good given the games that are available, and it looks like they're gonna make the barrier of entry even easier for new subscribers. The deal that they are introducing is pretty insane, and if you've been on the fence, it'll probably get you over the fence, so we'll cover that at the end of this video. First of all, Mortal Kombat 11 has anti-piracy DRM. Now, the basis of piracy is interesting to me. Obviously, it's something that publishers and developers want to avoid. However, third-party DRM is a little bit of a bummer because then you have to go online, even if you want to access the single-player components of the game, and it essentially adds another barrier. Is it alone going to stop people from buying a game on PC? No, but it could be the straw that breaks the camel's back, if you know what I mean, if they are kind of on the fence about a game. And the fact that it has some sort of DRM will be that deal breaker for them. And the thing is, these DRMs usually never work. In just a couple of days, maybe a week tops, the game will end up being cracked and you can pirate it anyway. And the problem I have in this case, more so than other cases, I mean, I always have a problem with it, but Mortal Kombat 11 is a game that's not going to do that well on PC already. You guys always hear me talk about how fighting games on PC is still something that's trying to find its place, and I don't know if it's ever going to find its place, because the issue is only so many people are going to buy a fighting game on PC, and a fighting game's longevity is based on the player base, based on the online multiplayer, and if that player base dies off, well, the value of that fighting game goes straight down the freaking toilet. So I get the idea of them implementing some sort of DRM so they can get people to buy the game day one and be invested into the experience right out of the gate, because more so than any other game, a fighting game on PC especially will depreciate in value much quicker. That's why generally you see fighting games go on sale relatively quickly on PC, at least in most cases. But I think fighting it with Denuvo does more harm than good. And I also want to talk a little bit about Mortal Kombat and generally just fighting games. Man, I don't know when it started, but these games are having an obscene amount of DLC. Unlike any other game, even single player games that have like expansions and whatnot, fighting games are the most notorious for having just absurd DLC content. I'm on the Steam page for MK11 right now. The base game is $60. They've got a MK11 Premium Edition for $100 as well. Like, come on, that is just so expensive. And the Premium Edition comes with a combat pack, and that includes 6 new DLC playable characters, 1 week early access to the DLC characters, 7 skins, and 7 sets of gear. All that for an additional $40. Man, that is a sizable investment, and that's just a bummer to see. Honestly, a combat pack with MK11 is probably one of the more tame things a fighting game has done. I mean, you've seen it with Dead or Alive 6. Dragon Ball FighterZ, as good as that game is, has gotten even more DLC, and I get that they want to monetize the game going into the future, but man, we gotta spend so much freaking money on these games, it's not even funny. Back in the day, when there weren't downloadable options and things like that, we wouldn't have to drop, you know, $40 on season pass content. I believe DB Fighters is getting its second wave of season pass content, so they did 1 wave of season pass content, and now they're doing another wave of season pass content. That's just something that's really turned me off from fighting games in recent memory. And look at a game like Dead or Alive 6, $93 worth of downloadable content. More so than the majority of other games, I think fighting games are the ones that are notorious for just having absurd DLC content. And you parlay that with the DRM, it's just a bummer to see how this game is going to turn out on PC. I imagine that initially there is going to be a sizable amount of people playing the game, because there does seem to be a groundswell of anticipation for MK11, and I'm on that boat. Honestly, I'm looking forward to play this game. I'm not super into competitive fighting games like some of you guys, so I don't know how much credibility you're gonna take from me based on me saying this, but I'm not talking about the mechanics of the game. I'm talking about from a publishing standpoint, all the DLC that they're releasing, DRM, things like that. I'm never going to really break down the mechanical side of a fighting game because I'm not well versed in that. But what I can say is PC fighting games don't do all too well. They depreciate rather quickly. MK11 is very expensive if you want the entire game, and it's got third-party DRM. I mean, that sounds like a recipe for disaster to me, but what do I know? Alright, moving on from that, I also want to talk a little bit about Dangerous Driving, as it's a game that's releasing tomorrow exclusively on the Epic Store, and whatever, a game like this, it didn't get a lot of attention heading into its release. I don't think it's a big deal that it's an Epic Store exclusive, because a studio like this probably really needs the resources that the Epic Store and Epic Games is going to offer. I imagine it's not going to sell all too well, but you guys get the idea. The game's actually coming from the creative talent behind the genre-defining Burnout series, and Dangerous Driving looks to put the aggression back into the racing game series, and you guys know me, or if you do, you know that I love the Burnout franchise, and I think it's a really great racing game series, but we haven't seen a new Burnout game in forever. We got Burnout Paradise Remastered, but that game was the last Burnout release, and that came all the way back in 2008. Dangerous Driving is kind of a return to that form, and I was kind of looking forward to it here and there, but I wasn't expecting it to release tomorrow, actually. That kind of was a little bit of a blindside to me. I think if it was a Steam release, it'd be a little bit more on my radar just because of the inherent promotion Steam would be doing, and that would generally just increase the word of mouth this game had. But nonetheless, what I really want to talk about is the fact that the reviews for this game is coming out, and I saw a very interesting review coming from Games Revolution, and they noted if you're playing on a computer, the problems don't end there. Dangerous Driving is currently an Epic Games Store exclusive title. This usually wouldn't impact a review in any way, but the client's lack of features make this PC release strictly inferior to its console counterpart. Since the Epic Games Store currently doesn't have achievement support, neither does Dangerous Driving. This is excusable. I think that is excusable, to be honest. Achievement support, while I like it, let's be real, that's not game breaking to a game. However, but the additional lack of an online leaderboards is the real bummer. Not being able to compete with friends for bragging rights is killer in a single player experience all about speed. In a game this bare bones, the lack of these features really stand out. So that's a really big notable exclusion from Dangerous Driving, and it looks like that stems from the Epic Games Store based on the wording from the review. I don't know if there was a way that they could have implemented the leaderboards directly into the game without any implementation of the Epic Games Store, but nonetheless, the game doesn't have leaderboards, the console version does have leaderboards, and in this case, it does seem like the Epic Games Store being an exclusive on that platform is stripping away that feature. And not only that, the lack of achievement support is a little bit of a bummer for someone like me. I know for a lot of you guys it's not a big deal, but for someone like me, I do care about the little things like that. And this game is kind of bare bones. It doesn't even have its own music track. You actually have to link your Spotify account to it, and if you don't have a Spotify account, well, you gotta figure out how to play music some other way. I get from a licensing standpoint, getting music for the game would be an additional cost, so I kind of understand from that standpoint, although if Epic's giving you a lot of funds, I don't know, maybe you can do that. I mean, really, how much funds is Epic Games giving to a game like Dangerous Driving that wasn't getting a lot of attention? Probably not much, so I can understand something like that being stripped away. And the fact of the matter is the game is being released at a $30 price point, so some of the exclusions are acceptable. However, the lack of an online leaderboard for a game that's all about speed, as it said in the review, that's a notable exclusion, and I want to see what that begs for in terms of upcoming titles. What about a game like World War Z, a game that's fully focused on its online plays? That game gonna have limitations as well? What about any other online games they release on the Epic Games Store? I'm curious to see how this evolves over time, but in the case of Dangerous Driving, it does seem like it was impacted a little bit. And lastly, I do want to give you guys a heads up on an awesome deal that's coming to Xbox's Game Pass service for new subscribers, and the offer is going to be valid from April 11th to May 12th. You can get 3 months of Game Pass for just $1. Yes, it used to be get a month of Game Pass for $1, and I would be like, yo, that's an insane deal. I get to play all of these Xbox exclusives for $1 a month. Yeah, sign me up for that, but now you can get 3 months for $1. This was pointed out by Wario64 over on Twitter, so I want to give him the credits, but this is right under the Game Pass page on the Microsoft Store, and that's pretty insane. 3 months of Game Pass for $1 is pretty great. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like any new Xbox One exclusives are coming out anytime soon. I know some of you guys are gonna meme out and be like, what Xbox One exclusives? But there are games like Gears 5, there are games like Halo 6, or Halo Infinite, whatever the case may be, and I'm sure they've got some other games in the works. They've acquired a bunch of studios. I'm sure they're working on something. But still, for $1 for 3 months of a subscription, Forza Horizon 4, if you guys have yet to check out that's definitely worth playing through. Gears of War 4, definitely worth playing through that. There are a couple of other games, like I believe Recore is on there, Sea of Thieves, Crackdown 3. some of those games aren't great, but in the case of Forza Horizon 4 and Gears 4, those games are exceptional, and then just see the other games as rounding things out. And if you can play through those for just $1 for 3 months, hey, in a 3-month window, you can definitely play the hell out of Forza Horizon 4, get everything you want out of that game, and then sayonara, see you next time for the next dollar subscription offer, and whenever the next big Xbox exclusive is released, and that'll be sometime in this fall. Right now, they're already offering me a month subscription for $1, so figure that one out. They just want to get you guys into the service, and then they'll figure out the rest after that. But I just find it pretty funny. It's a great value, though, so even outside of the humor that I find for it, if you want great games at a great price, Game Pass really does offer that at some point, and if you do have an Xbox One, to use it on both services, man, that's pretty insane, the value that you get out of that. And that's gonna conclude this video, guys. Again, let me know your thoughts on Mortal Kombat 11 having DRM like Denuvo. Is that a deal breaker for you? Am I making too big of a deal out of it? And what do you generally think about fighting games on PC? Do you even check them out on PC? Is that something where you do go to the console side of things to pick up your fighting games? Let me know. Dangerous Driving seems to be hampered based on the fact that it's on the Epic Game Store. No achievements, a lack of an online leaderboard. That's a little bit of a bummer. But it's probably a game most of you guys weren't checking out anyway, so I doubt you guys are gonna be losing sleep over it. And 3 months of Xbox Game Pass will be available for $1 for new subscribers starting April 11th. That's pretty great. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you guys have a request for a future video, leave it in the comments as well, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.